This Notebook LM video explores the powerful vision of Jacob's dream, a stairway reaching from earth to heaven, with angels ascending and descending, and God at the top. Gnostic interpretation suggests the latter represents the soul's journey of spiritual awakening, overcoming worldly illusions and internal forces to achieve direct knowledge of the divine.
You know, there are some visions, some stories that have just haunted and inspired humanity for millennia. And this is one of them, a stairway stretching from the dusty earth right up into the heart of heaven. It's a dream that became this incredible symbol for connection, for salvation, and for a journey into the deepest parts of ourselves. So let's dive into one of the most mysterious and powerful stories ever told, the vision of Jacob's ladder. It all kicks off with these famous words from the book of Genesis. I mean, this single powerful image of a ladder, just teeming with divine messengers, has echoed through history. It's inspired theologians, mystics, artists, you name it. But here's the thing, it's so much more than just a dream. It's a foundational metaphor for our connection to the divine. So, to really get the dream, you first have to understand the dreamer. And this vision, it didn't happen in some grand temple or to a revered holy man. No, it came to a guy who was totally alone, desperate, and literally running for his life. Right, so this is Jacob, and he is fleeing from his twin brother Esau. And believe me, this was not some simple sibling squabble. Jacob had, through some serious trickery, stolen Esau's birthright and his father's blessing. Esau was absolutely furious, so Jacob was running for his life out into the wilderness, completely cut off from his family and his home. He's exhausted, he's all alone, and he stops for the night in this place called Luiz. There's no inn, no comfort, nothing. He just finds a stone, puts it under his head for a pillow, and falls into a deep sleep. And it's right there, in that moment of total vulnerability, with nothing but the hard ground beneath him, that the universe just cracks open. And he dreams. He sees this massive stairway, or a ladder, planted on the earth, with its top reaching all the way into the heavens. And on it, angels are in constant motion, going up and down. But here's the most important part. God himself is standing at the top. And he speaks directly to Jacob, reaffirming the covenant, promising him land, descendants, and that he'll be protected. So Jacob wakes up, and he's not refreshed. He's terrified. He is shaken to his core. He realizes he hasn't just stumbled upon some random spot in the desert. In his most vulnerable state, he has unknowingly slept at the very intersection of heaven and earth, a place he renames Beth-el, which means the house of God. This incredible story immediately gives us the ladder's first and, you could say, its most universal meaning. It is a bridge, a direct link between our world and the divine. Now, this is really interesting. If you look at the original Hebrew word used here, it's sulam. See, our word ladder can make it sound a little flimsy, right? Like something you'd use to clean the gutters. But sulam implies a much more solid, permanent structure. Think of a grand staircase, or maybe even a ramp. The key here is that this is a stable, reliable connection. And those angels moving up and down, they're not just for show. They symbolize a constant two-way flow. It's a channel for divine messages and grace to come down to us, and for our prayers and our hopes to go up. It's an active, living connection. And you can really see why this is so important when you put it next to another famous story, the Tower of Babel. That was humanity's arrogant attempt to build its own way to heaven, a total act of pride. Jacob's ladder is the complete opposite. It's a connection started by God, reaching down to a lonely fugitive. It's a gift of grace, not a human achievement. So, for centuries, people saw the ladder as this powerful, symbolic object. But with the rise of Christianity, the interpretation took a really radical turn. The ladder wasn't just a thing anymore. It became a person. This is a massive passage from the Gospel of John. You have Jesus speaking to his disciples, and he directly references Jacob's dream. But notice the crucial change he makes. The angels are no longer going up and down a ladder, but upon the Son of Man. In Christian theology, this is a game changer. It's interpreted to mean that Jesus himself is the living embodiment of that connection. He is the bridge between God and humanity, made real. He's the one who closes the gap that Jacob could only see in a dream. The ladder becomes a foreshadowing of Christ. Okay, so we've seen the ladder as an external bridge and as a person. But now the interpretation gets even deeper, even more profound. We're about to take a dramatic shift in perspective, away from the cosmos outside and into the universe within. This is the question that mystics have been asking for centuries. What if the ladder isn't actually out there somewhere? What if this whole epic story of climbing to the divine actually takes place inside the human soul? This amazing quote from the mystic Saint Isaac the Syrian just captures this esoteric view perfectly. The ladder isn't a vision you just witness. It's a path you have to walk. The rungs of the ladder are stages of consciousness, and the climb itself is a process of spiritual awakening. Now, to really grasp this internal journey, we have to talk about the concept of gnosis. This isn't about book learning or memorizing facts. Gnosis is a special kind of knowledge, a direct, personal, and transformative experience of the divine. It's the difference between knowing about God and actually knowing God. In a lot of Gnostic traditions, this internal ladder is the soul's path to freedom. So the journey starts with realizing that the material world is basically an illusion, a kind of trap. The climb involves overcoming what they called archons, those internal and external forces of fear, ignorance, and attachment that hold us back. The whole goal is to attain that gnosis, and ultimately to reunite the divine spark inside of you with its original source. So, from a fugitive's dream to a map of our own consciousness, the ladder has proven to be one of the most adaptable and enduring symbols in all of human history. It just speaks to this fundamental human longing we all have. I mean, just look at the journey we've taken with this one idea. It starts almost 4,000 years ago as a very literal promise of land and protection. Then it evolves into a metaphor for a savior, then a step-by-step guide to moral purity. For mystics, it becomes the ultimate internal quest. And today, it still resonates as this universal archetype for that deep-seated human need to connect with something way bigger than ourselves. In the end, the real power of Jacob's ladder is that it poses a question to every single one of us. Whether we see it as a path of faith, a journey of self-knowledge, or just the struggle for our own personal growth, this ancient dream provides a timeless map for the quest for transcendence. So the real question is, where does your ladder lead?